Hello and welcome to day one. So today we're going to talk about choosing your email platform and branding it. The first thing we're going to talk about is why email marketing is such a big deal still. So building a relationship with your customers is key in getting them to want to purchase your product or service, and email marketing is one of the most effective ways that you can share your message, sell your products or services, and build that relationship with your customers. So here are a few stats just for you to ponder. 80% of business professionals believe that email marketing increases customer retention, and 59% of respondents say that marketing emails influence their purchasing decisions. 59% of marketers say that email is their biggest source of the return on investment. In fact, email marketing generates on average about $38 for every $1 spent, and 1 in 5 companies report a return on investment of over 70 to 1. So in short, email marketing is still a big deal, and whoever said that email is dead obviously didn't know what they were talking about. So how do you choose an email marketing platform? Well, there are a few questions that you need to ask yourself when you do make this decision. First, do I know enough to do this on my own, or will I be hiring someone to do it for me? How many subscribers do I have or plan to have? What's your goal going to be for the first year? For instance, how much time and money do I have that I want to invest in a platform? How often will I be sending emails? Are there any apps or programs that I'm already using that this platform will need to integrate with? That's a really important part. So by answering these questions, you'll be able to give yourself a better picture of what you need for your email marketing platform. So for the purposes of this challenge, we're going to assume that you are new to email marketing, and that is why you are taking this challenge to begin with. You could be in a place where you have no list built and you're starting from scratch, or maybe you have a few hundred subscribers and you want to learn how to start marketing to them. In either event, this challenge will help you along the way to the next level. So to get started on choosing, I will tell you that everything I will be teaching you and showing you will be on ActiveCampaign, as I feel that it's the easiest program to learn with the most options for your business to grow. A lot of people like to start with MailChimp, and it's a very popular starter program, and I can't disagree with that. But for me, I would rather use a program that will help me grow and grow with me and not have to change to a new platform later on. And by having someone to show you how to use the platform, that will make the learning curve much smaller. But you're free to use whichever email marketing platform that you choose, and just know that you will still gain insight from the challenge and be able to follow along, as things that we will be doing should be available in your platform of choice. If you don't have a platform yet and would like to use ActiveCampaign throughout the challenge, I do have a 14-day free trial that you can take part with that. Just look in your last 2 emails that you received from me, and there will be a link to tell you to take you to sign up for that. I'll get you set up and get that out to you just as soon as possible. So moving on, we're going to be talking about branding. Branding your email marketing platform is something that everybody should be doing with everything that you do. Obviously, your branding should be on everything that you put out there. It should be on anything that you give out or put online. That includes like stationery, emails that you send out, social media, and your marketing platform is just to name a few things. So even if your business is strictly online, branding is the equivalent of putting a sign out front of your store if you had a brick and mortar business. And you may have a brick and mortar business. So just make sure that you carry that branding that you have on your storefront to your online presence. Because no one would know if you were even there if you didn't have that sign. And the same thing applies to your online world as well. So for the purposes of this challenge, we're going to limit our scope to your email marketing platform and the emails that you generate from it. So let's get started. So like I said before, we're going to be using ActiveCampaign for demonstration purposes, but you should be able to follow along with any platform that you might be using. There may be different places that you have to go to fill out some of these things, but these are the basic things that you need to make sure that you fill in or set up before you start using your platform. And we'll get started with those next. Okay, so we are now in our email marketing platform. This is ActiveCampaign, and what I'm showing you today is the dashboard. I want to give you just a quick run through a little tour, if you will, of all the different parts of ActiveCampaign that we'll be starting with. This is a new account that I created, and so it has nothing in it. Even though you see a lot of things in here, if you roll over them, you'll see that they're just for show at this point. This is really what you will see if you had a new account. You would come in here. It's just to show you what's available. This section here, you can move around the way that you would want it to look for yourself. So you can get rid of this if you didn't want to see what your automations were. These are the templates that you would use. You could get rid of this. You could move it over here if you would want it over here instead. So it gives you a lot of freedom to make this part, which is your dashboard. This is where the hub of everything that you've got going on, as you can see basically in one view. You can move things around the way you would like for it to look for you. So feel free to play around with that if you intend to try out this platform. But so we start here, and basically this is where all of your total number of contacts will be. It will actually show you up here as you increase the number of contacts that you have. It'll show you the percentage typically. You can either do by active or all, but it'll show you basically over the last week. And this is your contact trend. It's kind of like a graph that you'll see where you can actually start to see how your growth is. And this would be any kind of news from ActiveCampaign itself, new releases they might have, new ideas that they've got coming out. This is where they will have those. This is a list of all your automations. Basically, this is where if you are creating multiple emails to go out over time, you give them a name, and this is where they will show up right here. Campaigns, this is like a one-time email that you would send out. Maybe you do a monthly newsletter, and this is where you would see the different ones. Like if you've got a draft that you are creating and working on, it will show draft like you see there, or if you've had one that's already gone out, it'll show it out there as well. Pipelines, if you had that level of plan, then you would see your pipeline. This is for like sales leads, vendors. You could track all of that information. Templates, like I said, these are your email templates that you can choose from. ActiveCampaign actually gives you templates that you can start with, and if you want to create your own, you can do that as well. Top contacts, these are the people that are the most active within your platform, so anybody that may have subscribed to you, the ones that are using your platform or interacting with your emails the most will show up here. You can also look, there's drop-down menus and different things, and as you develop your email platform, you'll see other things kind of pop up in these drop-downs. And then this is your recent activity. So this is like if someone subscribes, you would see that pop up. I hate to roll over it because it goes away, but you'll see this as we work through this. But you'll see where the people will have their little pictures if they have avatars set up. They'll show up there. It'll show you, like if you had 3 people subscribe yesterday, it'll show you 3 people subscribed. If you had someone unsubscribe, if you had a reply to a campaign like you see down here, you know, it gives you just kind of an up-to-date activity, things that are going on. So over here, when you come in and you first start, you can go through the getting started. This actually kind of takes you step by step in a way to get things set up. And that's kind of what we're going to go through today in part. So as it comes up, I'll show you what it looks like. It gives you a little checklist here of things that you can do. So like creating a list, importing your contacts, building an automation, creating a form, creating a campaign, setting up your pipeline, tracking activity on your site, integrating different apps into this program as well. So it kind of gives you a checklist of things that you can go through to get yourself set up. But the main thing that I wanted to share with you today is kind of the areas that we're going to be working in the most. I just want to give you a little overview. So contacts. This is obviously the people that become part of your list. So there's different ways that you can segment or track these different contacts. You've got your tags. They can be part of a list. They can have a certain status, which means like if they're active, they're unconfirmed, they're unsubscribed, or if they bounce whenever you send an email and the email doesn't go through, it'll show that they're a bounced contact. You can search through your contacts through here. There's actually an advanced search as well. This is where you can pull segments, and we'll get into this a lot more. So that's your counts. Then you've got, your contacts. Then you've got your managed tags. Now tags is kind of one of those things where you can you can put tags on different contacts. So let's say you've got a list of people that come from different sources. So let's say you have someone who has downloaded a lead magnet of yours about how to bake a cake. Then you can actually select a tag that you want to assign to them. So then later on, maybe 6 months down the road, you want to pull up all the people who downloaded that lead magnet about how to bake a cake. What you can do then is you can actually go into your contacts and you can search by that tag. So tags are really important because what that does is it allows you to tag that person with every type of thing that they may have purchased or downloaded or interacted with in your platform. And that's something that we will be working on tomorrow, actually, today and tomorrow. So we'll learn a little bit more about tags. And then you have lists, which a lot of people like to say, oh, well, I want to add them to this list or that list. That can get really confusing and messy really quick. And we'll talk a little bit more tags and lists in a little bit. So that's your contacts. And then you've got campaigns. Campaigns, like I said, are kind of like one-off emails that you would send. That would be something that you would create, let's say like you want to send out a newsletter, or you have a big update or a big sale or something like that that you want to send to someone. So this is where you could start creating those campaigns, and you can manage your templates here. There's a lot of different things that you do here. And like I said, this is something that we'll work on as well. Automations is where you create basically a map of a path or journey that you want your new contact or lead to take. So what that does is you say, okay, I'm going to create a journey for this person who is downloading my lead magnet about cakes, how to bake a cake. Well, if you're going to do that, then you want them not only to get that first email where it says welcome and here's your download, but you also have a journey after that of emails that you want to send them so they can continue to be nurtured and you're interacting with them. And what you do is you create an automation so when they come in to that that particular automation about how to build a cake, you're fulfilling the lead magnet, but then you're also offering other things that you may have that would interest them in that that automation. And it allows you to kind of pick and choose different types of paths that they might take within that. And again, that's something that we'll get into a lot more later. The next thing would be your lists. Now, if you notice, I'm not going into every one of these because not all of these are going to pertain to what we're doing in this challenge, because this challenge is very basic this week. It's about introducing this to you and getting you familiar with this type of marketing, and going into some of these other things are a little bit more advanced. And so we're just going to stick to the basics this week. So you can, by the end of the week, be able to build a list. You can put tags in there. You can create a campaign, and you can also be able to set up an automation. So this is where all of your lists are going to be. You're going to have lists that you create for maybe people that receive your newsletter, or a list of someone who is maybe a certain type of category within your customer base. So lists, to me, when I look at it, especially with ActiveCampaign, now I will say some other platforms use tags and lists in a little bit different way, but with ActiveCampaign, I look at it as the list would be like the bookshelf and the tag would be the individual book. So if you kind of look at it that way. So you don't want too many lists because it could get very confusing, and then you have a ton of little bitty lists with 15 to 50 people on them, and it becomes very, very messy. So we always look at this as you're going to have less lists than you will tags. So like I said, we'll get into that a little bit more later. And then you have forms, and forms are what people will fill in whenever they are sent to your email platform to be able to download something specific, or you can use them to gather information. Maybe you want to get information from someone, or you want to do you can even do a poll if you want, or anything like that. There's so many different things that you can do with them. So building forms is always the beginning of starting an automation usually, because that's how you gather the information from the person, and then once you have them fill out that form and they hit submit, then that information then is put into ActiveCampaign, and based on the tag or the list or however you chose to segment them with that form will then direct them to the correct journey in which they're supposed to take within your platform. So the last thing that I wanted to go through in this video is the settings. Now there's a couple different places that you can go and do that. So we're going to go into this cogwheel right here in the settings, and whenever you come in here for the first time, your account name and your username will have already been set up. You will have an account email that will be set up, because this is the email that would needed to be set up whenever, or put in whenever your account was set up. And then you can create a signature here. So like within this platform, you can actually send emails directly to a contact through the platform. And this is a signature that you would maybe put in here, like if you wanted to have a specific message, your name, you could put a logo, you know, those kinds of things that you would put in here, your time zone, your language. All of these things here would be definitely under the account is what you want to make sure is filled in correctly. Your address is the other thing here. You want to have an address set up. And then users and groups is where you would go. Let's say if you had other people who might want to help you work within your platform, this is where you can give them their own login and password to set up. So these are the main things that we're doing today. I would like for you to go through your platform if you're not using ActiveCampaign and find those areas and make sure that they're filled in appropriately. So that's this section, and then the next part that we're going to be talking about is what you're specifically going to be working on today, which is lists and tags, and we'll come back to that in the next video so that way we can discuss that and make sure that you understand how that works. Okay, and we are back. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is your list. We're going to create a list now, and so to do that, we're going to click on this little blue button right here, and it's going to say add a list. So the first thing I always create in every single platform I build for anybody or for myself is an all contacts list. So we're going to do all contacts. Now, list URL. Basically what this means is that you are going to be putting in what URL that this list pertains to. I always just put in the main website. So we're going to just put in here www.campfirecreativity.com. Okay, so if that would be your website. So if you had abc.com, that would be your URL that you put in there. And then here is a list description. So just like it says in the box, you're going to remind your contact why they are on this list. This will be viewable in emails and that are sent into this list. So I always put in here basically that you are receiving this email because you have subscribed or downloaded one of our content pieces, or something to that effect. So whatever that list because it's all contacts, I just put something very generic in here. So you're receiving this email because you have subscribed or downloaded one of our content pieces. Typically that's how people come in anyway, so that usually covers it. And you just click add. And you can see it says adding up here, and then it will show up in your list of lists. So as you see, it's working right here now, and then it says all contacts, and we have 0 active contacts now. Now if you have a current list that you are wanting to import, then this is where you would do this. So go in here and you would click import contacts. There's a couple different ways that you can actually bring in contacts. If you have an existing file, a CSV file, then you would just import that file. Or if you don't have that many, you can actually literally copy and paste the contacts in. If you have your contacts in another program and it happens to be one of these, then you can actually click that and import them that way. So most people are going to import them from a file, or they're going to start with 0, or they're going to just have a few and they can copy and paste them in. So if you need more help with that, let me know. But right now, most people are going to start with 0 or close to it, so you can just, you know, go through this. If you're going to import a file, just click Import File, and then you would go and find the file that would go in there, and then you would import that. If you're going to copy and paste, you would just click that, and then you literally would copy and paste them in like this. So it'll walk you through it. But like I said, if you have any questions about this specifically on how to do this, then please just let me know. You can reply to the email that you received today, and we can work on that together. Okay, so that's how you would import a contact list. So if you want to go back out to your contacts here, then anybody that you imported then would show in your contact list at this point. So let's say that you want to, obviously we didn't import any, we're just going to add a contact. So adding a contact, the first thing that you're going to do is put in their email address. So I'm just going to put in my email. Okay, first name Tanya, last name Whittington. Can't even spell my last name. And then you could put their phone number in if you had it. The account, if you had to add an account, you could do that, but just click Add. And then you could from this point here, you could add them to the list. You could add them to a deal if you had that level of program or plan. You can add a specific tag. So if you had tags in here, you could go through and find the tag and put that with them. And then there's advanced options here as well, where you could select their status if you wanted to. You could have them in here and not send them any future autoresponders, because maybe you have autoresponders that respond whenever someone is automatically added to your contact list and you don't want to send them that. You can click that. You can send an instant autoresponder because they are a new contact. Maybe you've got something like that set up. Or you can send the last distributed campaign out. Let's say you had a newsletter that just went out, you know, a few days ago. They weren't on the list at the time that went out, so at that point you could actually send them that because they were put in there just now, and it would automatically do that for you. So whatever those are, you could do, but we're just going to apply the list that we have, and then when you go into the name, you can open that up and it will show you all of their information here. So again, you can go in and add information later if you wanted to. You can add a phone number. You could add an account. You could add additional lists that you might want to put them into. You could add an automation. Let's say you have an automation already set up and you want them to go into that automation. At this point, you can add them to that, and you can enter tags here. You can keep notes. If you have any notes that you want, you can do that. You could go down here to do that. Add a contact note. Just click on that. It pops up and you can type in notes. This person is awesome, whatever it is. And you click that add, and then this is in their notes. This is where you could you can look to see all the emails that you had sent to them. So if you wanted to any email that was sent to them, let's say they went through an automation, or they received an automation email because they were tagged with something when they came into your list, then those emails and everything, all the activity that they have would be over here. But if you want to see the specific email, then you could actually go into emails here and it would show you that email. And we'll look at this again later on after we've sent something like that. And if you wanted to send an email to this person, like a one-off email like I talked about earlier, you can actually do that here. You can add a task. You can have a task list for this specific person if you want. Maybe you want to schedule a call for that person. Maybe it's a vendor or a contact that you've got business contact. Then you can actually put them in here as well, and you could put a certain tag on there for that person. You could schedule calls, emails, lunch meetings, all those different types of things. So it's kind of like a scheduler as well that you can use this for. And so this is what the person's file looks like. It's kind of like a filing cabinet. This would be their card or their file folder. Has all of their information. And if you did have the level of plan that has the deals and everything, then you can actually click on this and see the deals that they would have. So this is what the basic overview of a contact is. Now, so we go back to our list here, and when you go into your list, you'll be able to see I've got one list that's called All Contacts. Sorry, computer's taking a little bit. There you go. All Contacts. If you click open that list, then you'll be able to see all the people that you have in that list. And since we only have one contact that's in that list right now, one person is showing up. Over here, you can then go from here and you can do other things, even from this. That's the one great thing about ActiveCampaign that I like, because you can actually access different things from different places. So you can find this person's information in the contact list. You can actually go into a list and then see their information, and you can add a deal, a task, a note, all this right here. You can delete the contact from that if you want. There's a lot of different ways to get to the same information, and that makes it a lot easier. And then, so the next thing I want to talk about though is tags. So let's say we want to give Tanya a tag. Let's say that she is someone who is a business prospect, maybe like a vendor type. Okay, so we don't have any tags set up right here. So like I had said in the previous video, we had looked at the way that you look at start over. That we look at the way that you look at lists versus tags. Lists would be like the bookshelf, and the tag would be like the individual book. So let's say that this person, and these are going to be tags that could be used for a lot of different people. So you want to make these as generic as possible, but yet specific, if that makes sense. So let's say that this person is a vendor. All right, so we're going to type in that we're going to have a vendor tag, and you can add multiple ones like it says right here. You can add one per line, or you can separate them by a comma. I usually just hit enter and then add in the next one. So let's say we're going to have a vendor. We're also going to have a customer. We're going to have a tag that says this customer is oh, and I'll tell you from beginning to, Campfire Creativity is actually another company of mine. It's my husband and I do a lot of crafting, woodworking, things like that. I make jewelry, that kind of stuff. It's just stuff that we do on the side, but this is actually an account that I'm setting up for them. So we have vendors, we have customers, we have maybe woodworking, we have jewelry. You know, so there's a lot of different things that you can use to specify who these people are. We have, oh, let's see what else. Art. I do some painting, so there's a lot of different things here. So these are different tags that you can actually have. So now I've got 5 tags in there. I'm going to add them all at one time. So now these are my tags in my list, and so you can see how many contacts would have that particular tag. You can see how many automations that tag is used in. You could delete the tag if you don't want it anymore. Just make sure that you don't have any contacts or it's not in an automation, because then you'll have to go back and fix those things. Or you can go in and edit that tag. You can put a description here. If let's say you want to change this name from art to artwork, you can do that. And then what that actually does, then it edits a tag here, but it also edits that tag in every single place that it is used. So if every contact that you have art with, you had tagged with, they now will have the tag artwork instead. If the automation used that tag art, now it uses the tag artwork. So it's pretty cool that it does that. So that's what a tag is. So what I would like for you to do for your homework tonight, if you remember the email that you received right before you started this challenge, I had said, think about your best customer, the customer that you want to work with the absolute most, the one that makes you the happiest to work with. They are the perfect customer. Think about that customer. That's who you want to work with on a daily basis, right? So now I want you to think of 3 different lists that customer would be in. And I also want you to think about 3 different tags that you could potentially use for that customer. So make a list of those and then go ahead and put them into your account, whether it be ActiveCampaign or another one that you might be using. And then tomorrow we will take that to the next level. So just do that. Create 3 tags and 3 lists that you would use with your absolute favorite best customer that you would ever want to use. And then we will use those in tomorrow's training. And so if you get those done tonight, then and get your account set up, then you'll be ready for the training tomorrow. And if you have any questions along the way, please do not hesitate to send me an email or just reply to the email that you received today or any of the emails and let me know what that question is, and we'll do our best to get that answered for you for tomorrow. Okay? So if you um, I think you have enough to work with. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great evening or rest of your day, depending on what time it is for you, and we will see you tomorrow.